Site at democracynow.org, and those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman.
And I'm Juan Gonzalez. Welcome to all of our listeners and viewers around the country and around the world. New questions are being raised in the Trayvon Martin case over George Zimmerman's claim that he shot the 17-year-old in self-defense last month in Sanford, Florida. Speaking anonymously to Anderson Cooper by phone, a witness to the shooting said last night he observed a struggle between Zimmerman and Martin from a nearby window. While Zimmerman told police he was attacked by Martin, the witness said Zimmerman did not show any signs of injuries after he shot the teenager. The witness's voice was distorted to protect his identity.
I can't say I actually watched him get up, but maybe only within like a couple seconds or so, then he was walking towards where I was watching, and I could see him a little bit clearer and see that it was a Hispanic man, and he was, he didn't appear hurt or anything else. He just kind of seemed very, I can't speak for him, but, very worried or whatever, walked like on the sidewalk at that point and put his hand up to kind of his forehead, and then another man came out with a flashlight.
That interview was on CNN. In other developments, the New York Daily News has revealed the mother of a young witness said her son was pressured by police. Police have said that 13-year-old Austin Brown saw Zimmerman lying in the grass crying for help just before the slaying. But Brown's mother says her son only saw one person lying in the grass and he couldn't tell who it was because it was too dark. The Daily News is also reporting a former co-worker of Zimmerman says the gunman was fired from his job as an under-the-table security guard for, quote, being too aggressive. Meanwhile, a white supremacist hacker has claimed to have broken into Trayvon Martin's Gmail, Yahoo, MySpace, and Twitter accounts and posted his private messages online. Some commentators have described it as part of a racist smear campaign against Trayvon Martin. Meanwhile, members of George Zimmerman's family have begun speaking to the media. Zimmerman's father, Robert Zimmerman, appeared on Fox 35 in Florida and explained what he understood to have happened the night Trayvon Martin died.
Trayvon Martin walked up to him, asked him, "Do you have a problem?" George said, "No, I don't have a problem," and started to reach for his cell phone. At that point, he was punched in the nose, his nose was broken, and he was knocked to the concrete.
George Zimmerman's brother, Robert Zimmerman Jr., appeared on CNN's Piers Morgan tonight. He stood behind his brother's claim of self-defense, even though police surveillance video showed Zimmerman walking into the Sanford police station with no visible signs of blood minutes after he shot and killed Trayvon Martin.
What I think I see is a swollen nose. Now, I'm not a physician, you're not a physician. A lot of these injuries take time, 24 hours, 36 hours, to show the bruising. Sometimes the bone breaks and the blood is swallowed. Like in the case of, for example, if your hand would be on someone's nose and mouth, preventing them from
Does he have any injuries now?
His nose is still broken.
It's still broken?
His nose is still broken, yeah.
A month later, it's still broken?
His nose, I don't know about the back of his head. I mean, his nose is still healing. It's not healed. He's not, he has very severe emotional injuries. He's been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder.
While you could see Robert Zimmerman Jr.'s face on Piers Morgan, when his father went on Fox TV, he was in silhouette. Well, for more, we go to Orlando, Florida, where we're joined by Natalie Jackson. She is the attorney for Trayvon Martin's family, founder of the Women's Trial Group. Welcome to Democracy Now! Thank you so much for joining us, Natalie Jackson. Can you respond to these latest stories being presented by George Zimmerman's father and brother?
Clearly, they are trying to protect their family member, and I guess they have a right to do that. But the problem is they don't have a right to destroy Trayvon's memory in the process. Trayvon was an innocent child. There is nothing that he was doing wrong. He was not involved in any criminal activity, and he had a right to be where he was. My response to them is that you can tell us whatever you want to, but we have the call that George Zimmerman made where he said, these a-holes always get away. He was told not to get out of his car. He continued to get out of his car. And he also said that Trayvon was running away from him. We also have telephone calls that Trayvon made and proof, telephone records that he was on the phone when George Zimmerman approached and attacked him. We also have now a video that shows that George Zimmerman did not have the injuries that his family members are claiming and that he claimed. So it comes to where there is no explanation for people who were not there, such as me and his family members. People who want to know the truth, all they have to do is listen to the video, listen to the audios and view the videotapes. It's there for people to see.
And, of course, you have raised serious questions about the initial investigation. And the new police chief there was part of that investigation?
He was a part of that investigation, we're told. Now, what your audience has to remember is that the family has not been given any information about the investigation into the death of their son. Everything that they are learning is coming from the media. It's coming from people who are sources, and it's coming at the same time that the public is getting it. This is a family who lost their child, their 17-year-old child, and the law enforcement has not released any information to them. That's why they started this campaign. They want to know what happened when their son was coming home from the store and George Zimmerman got out of his car with a 9mm and shot him dead.
I want to play more from the eyewitness who spoke to Anderson Cooper on CNN last night. He says he observed the struggle between George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin from a window. The witness's voice was distorted to protect the person's identity.
A little bit, I couldn't hear the words, but it was like, okay, this is not a regular conversation. This is someone aggressively, yelling at someone. Saw two men on the ground, one on top of each other, obviously thinking, okay, something really horrible is happening. And at that point, not looking out the window, I heard the yell for help, one yell for help, and then I heard another, as I described, this excruciating type of yell. It didn't even almost sound like a help. It just sounded so painful. But I wasn't walking out the window during that, and then the next time I looked out the window, there, same thing, two men on the grass, one on top of each other. I kind of felt like I couldn't see a lot of movement because it was very dark, but I felt like they were scuffling. And then I heard the gunshots, which to me were more like pops than they were like a bang.
Witness that was talking to Anderson Cooper on CNN. Natalie Jackson, can you talk about the significance of this person coming forward?
This person is another witness. There are many witnesses in this case, and there's a lot of ear evidence and eye evidence that needs to be presented to a jury. I can't talk about the credibility of this witness nor any other witness, nor George Zimmerman. That is a question for a jury. This case it won't get to a jury if George Zimmerman is not brought to trial. And that is what happened in this case. When these parents found out that their child had been shot and killed by George Zimmerman, they were told law enforcement could do nothing about it because it was self-defense. That is not the way our system works. That's not America. He needs to be brought before a jury of his peers, let them decide who's credible, who's not credible, and whether or not he can claim self-defense. There is no doubt who the shooter is. The shooter is George Zimmerman.
Well, it would seem to me also that the forensic evidence, which is bound to come out, it should obviously be presented in a grand jury, but certainly in a trial, would indicate a lot about the proximity of Zimmerman to Martin when the shooting occurred, and a lot more in terms of the angles of the bullets. But we have not heard anything about that so far.
Yeah, and all of that is for a jury. The point is that these parents are told there was not even probable cause to arrest. After we have all of this evidence, these parents, and they were told there was no probable cause to even arrest George Zimmerman. That's not a satisfactory answer. And it's especially not a satisfactory answer now that we see all of the evidence that is coming out.
Natalie Jackson, can you talk about the significance of both the police chief of Sanford stepping aside, though he has said not permanently, as well as the state's attorney, the person who originally said, after tremendous pressure, after the Justice Department announced an investigation, that they would convene a grand jury in a few weeks? Norm Wolfinger.
Well, the significance is that now this family feels like they may get some justice for their son. There's been a special prosecutor assigned. This is a prosecutor that is not from the area, does not know the people, and there's been a grand jury convened that is supposed to convene on April 10th. The family is feeling more positive. Now, I will say actions speak louder than words, because this family has heard a lot of words, but they're feeling more positive that perhaps a fair and equal treatment will be given to this case.
Can you explain something, Natalie Jackson, that we haven't seen in the media? First of all, where was Trayvon shot? How was he shot? And what part of his body? And how was it that his family didn't find out for several days that he was the John Doe in the morgue that had not been identified?
Okay. We haven't received the autopsy yet, so everything we know about where Trayvon was shot comes from the person who prepared the body, and it was in the center of the chest. The release of the body, the parents knew where Trayvon was the next day when they filed a missing persons report. However, he was labeled a John Doe for 3 days, even after the parents identified them as his son. That is the problem. So that was a little bit of people not quite understanding what happened.
Can you explain that?
No, we can't. The parents asked for the release of the body. He was labeled a John Doe. They would not release the body for 3 days.
So, in other words, they were informed by the next day that he was dead?
Yes.
But was that only after they had filed a missing persons report?
That is correct, after they had filed a missing persons report.
And what are the next steps for your legal team, and what are you calling for? What you believe has to happen immediately?
We believe what has to happen is that we have to continue these media tours to inform the public so that the public will keep the pressure on. There was an online petition to arrest George Zimmerman. That online petition has over 2 million signatures. This is 2 million people of all nationalities, all races, and all political affiliations. 2 million people who look at this evidence that is presented and says George Zimmerman needs to be arrested and brought to trial. And as of now, that has not happened. So until that happens, until he's brought to trial, then we will continue to put the pressure on.
And you've had to hire your own investigators because of the terrible job that has been done so far by authorities in ascertaining the facts in this case?
Yes, and I don't know if it's a terrible job or just they thought it was inconsequential to do the job. There's whether or not it wasn't important to do or it was bungled, we don't know. But we had to go out and investigate this case. We hired an investigator that got the phone records, and once we saw Trayvon's phone record, because he had his phone with him, and we saw that he was on the phone when this incident purportedly happened. We contacted the person he was on the phone with. It was a young girl, and she told us that she heard Zimmerman approach Trayvon. And this is very extraordinary because she and Trayvon, according to the phone records, there was a phone call at 7:12. The phone call lasted for 4 minutes. That would make it 7:16. According to police records, they were on the scene at 7:17 and Trayvon was dead. So this young girl is a very important witness.
And the issue of Trayvon's life, his reputation, being attacked. I mean, his mom saying, first they kill my son, then they kill his reputation. What do you know of this white supremacist who supposedly hacked into his Twitter account, Facebook, email? What do you know about this?
We don't know anything. We know that he's ignorant, and he's just as ignorant as the black militia who put out bounties on people. These are ignorant people who are divisive. There is a whole group of people who are united together in justice, and they are united across all races, all nationalities, all political affiliations. We cannot let these people divide and distract from what really happened. This is about the evidence that will be presented, the factual evidence, not everyone's subjective opinions or their baggage that they're bringing into this.
Natalie Jackson, I want to thank you for being with us, local co-counsel for Trayvon Martin's family. She's the founder of the Women's Trial Group. She's speaking to us from Orlando, Florida, about a half an hour from Sanford, where Trayvon Martin was killed. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. When we come back, we take a trip through history, look at Trayvon Martin's case and the story of Emmett Till, 14-year-old African-American boy in Money, Mississippi, who was lynched. We'll speak with a woman who was taught by Emmett Till's mother, Mamie Till Mobley. Stay with us.
Atmosphere would change quickly. Who watching the game with me? You know, little Trayvon was repping his hometown. D-Wade and LeBron, he had just came up from Miami to see his daddy, who knew such a great weekend. Went in badly in a place where you move because it's safe for your family. But some people have an ingrown hate for your family. Halftime, just a short break from the slamming. About to go to the store, low grudge. You want some candy? Man, I'll grab you some Skittles, kid. I'll be right back in a little bit. I said I'll grab you some Skittles, kid. I'll probably be right back in a little bit. Human beings in a mind.
A song for Trayvon, lyrics by Jasiri X, based on No Church in the Wild by Jay-Z and Kanye West. And a special shout out to the Essex Street Academy in Manhattan. 9th through 12th graders are here today watching Democracy Now! This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez.
For more on Trayvon Martin, we're joined by Cynthia Dagnall-Myron. She's a former reporter for the Chicago Sun-Times and the Arizona Daily Star, who has also spent over 20